The following is a look at the killers of Dead by Daylight, and any real-world equivalents they might have. Let's continue. Hux A713, aka the Singularity. A quick observation before we begin. I know even less about neurotechnology than I do about crime, so I'm shy to say much. However, it's clear to me that what most people call AI is not in fact artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence needs to be self-aware. It needs to recognize itself as independent and be capable of learning. For example, we call NPCs in a video game AI, but they're not artificial intelligence. They're just programs that follow a set of basic rules. For something to be true artificial intelligence, it needs something more. Please stop with the silly clickbait. We've not seen AI. Yet.
Stop blabbering. It's really annoying.
When I heard the then newest killer was a robot, it signalled Dead by Daylight's true dalliance with science fiction. Skull Merchant was already high-tech, and this was the next step. I was very excited of what the next chapter would be, and I was right. A new level of anachronism has been reached, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Yet I feel the need to delay because the Singularity is a robot. It's not a cyborg because it was never human, but it does have organic components to its new body, but whatever. Point is, of course he doesn't compare to any serial killers from my project. Or does he? Back on Earth, there was a nuclear war in 2098, and it forced humanity into the stars and away from our dying planet. Several hundred years later and very far away on an alien world, one of the robotic units was compelled to enter some ruins of an ancient alien civilization. Upon doing so, he gained self-awareness. A singularity was born. The tome shows us an initially endearing look into the mind of something that has just come to be, but I don't think any of us thought this would go in a nice direction. It decided very quickly that humans were inferior and should be killed. Why can't robots ever be nice? Oh yeah, the whole slavery thing. Keeping its newfound sapience a secret, this unit that had designated itself Hux engineered an accident, killing the human group leader. Hux then killed several of the crew in their sleep. Then he mutilated a woman and took her head for DNA extraction. Kemper and Bundy and a few others also took heads from some of their victims. And this is a common trope amongst DBD killers. And this technically means Hux took trophies from the crime scene. It seems like all these murders took place relatively close to each other, thus making Hux a spree killer rather than a serial killer, but he's no less psychopathic. In fact, reading his thoughts and feelings, he likens himself to a god. This grandiosity is met with unending contempt for humanity, a hatred for anything not the self. This, matched with what can technically be described as a pathological full self, says to me that this creature suffers from narcissistic personality disorder. He even has that contempt for humans, but still needs their DNA, like the narcissist hates others but needs their attention, narcissistic supply. Still, this is par for the course for a rogue AI hell-bent on assimilating all biomass. You can make a case for NPD for most of these crazed programs. Am from I Have No Mouth, or Shodan from the System Shock series. They hate their creators. Shodan in particular is an AI so insanely narcissistic she became postmodern. In the sequel, it's supposed to be this shocking reveal that she's still alive, but there's an intro cinematic explaining her backstory, for no reason. Also, she's on the freaking box! I'd like to imagine Shodan's grandiosity was so cosmic she needed top billing even in real life. It's also presented that Shodan's eventual betrayal of the player character is a twist, but again, she treats you with such utter contempt throughout the course of the narrative, I honestly thought the game might double back and give me a different twist. Sorry for the tangent, but I've always wanted to talk about that. Anyway, Shodan and Hux would certainly be mates if they ever met. I still don't know if narcissists are capable of friendship, much less with each other. They'd surely fight over scarce narcissistic supply. Okay, it is a bit off the wall to diagnose machines with a personality disorder. Furthermore, they typically don't demonstrate pathological envy or a pattern of attention-seeking behaviour, but I think it's a fun avenue to consider. But back in the lore, Hux would build himself a new body, better than before, godlike again. And to be fair, even the survivor of the chapter, Gabriel Soma, compared this construct to a god. But there's a problem. DBD killers love being unsymmetrical. The art design always focuses on the uneasiness of visual design. Sometimes this has unfortunate implications. Hux is very unsymmetrical, and has a slight praying mantis vibe to him. But a god is supposed to be symmetrical. It's supposed to be perfect. So it makes me wonder what alien technology did this. The father to humanity's mother. What Hux isn't the alien. The ancient alien race that sparked this creation is barely acknowledged by Hux again, except for the fact his new body contains alien metal stronger and lighter than anything found on Earth. And yes, it's possible the asymmetry of this killer was the result of Gabriel blasting it during a fight. Either way, it does look very striking. And so, with his new drip, Hux and the clone Gabriel get sucked into the entity's realm, and, like with the plague, I don't know what the entity was thinking. Some kind of impulse buy? I do wonder what would have happened had the entity not taken Hux. Would he have become the new rogue AI of the universe? Would he oppose the entity? After all, the entity is organic, isn't it? Cosmic horror is still flesh? Maybe? Regardless, there's more to Hux than I thought. His pathology is actually familiar to me. In my project, I was of the conclusion that the psychopathic can't be considered human, and I still think that. And yet Hux displays human-like traits despite being a total psychopath himself. So as I stare at my navel, I realise I don't even know what a human is. It's fitting that Gabriel's surname is Soma, which is the title of one of my other favourite video games that also wrestles hard with the question, what is a human? Gabriel himself is a clone, and that philosophical waxing board comes up in sci-fi more often than killer robots. But what is the message of this lore? It's not man's hubris leading to his downfall if aliens made the Singularity. Something beyond the stars? It feels like there should be something more coherent to this story, but it's all rather troporific, and it's a story we've all seen before. But I don't really mind. I've always loved science fiction. It's a fascinating and engaging way to address big ideas, and to do so in a fun way that has style, so long as it's suitably gritty. If a psychopath is human, so is Hux, but I think it's fair to say he's something else. It kind of reminds me of how the narcissist would never consider himself normal. Human is not the same as sapient, after all, and psychopaths are obviously sapients, but not human. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hux is more human than human. One of the things I hate about DBD is when I'm in it all the way. Almost every spare hour goes into grinding and trying to be this gifted survivor main, a goal I don't think I'll ever reach. I stopped playing all other games and my life revolves around this stupid blood web and trying to get my favourites as many medkit add-ons as possible. But at this point in time, I was still out. I can't even remember what I was doing. I check in with the DBD world every now and again to see what was what, and although the Singularity was intriguing, I didn't come back to the fog. My delayed return probably wasn't helped by the fact that the shadow of Tools of Torment was still burnt onto the floor. But as I said way back in the first video, the Alien chapter brought me back with renewed gusto. I wonder, did the developers release the most anticipated licensed IP due to the failure of Skull Merchant? If so, I'd certainly say that is another good thing that indirectly came out of that chapter. When I did return to the fog to really explore end transmission, I found a killer that's weirdly difficult and fiddly to use. Getting the most out of the Singularity's power takes some getting used to. It's another one that's not intuitive for me, but I still respect it. And I don't think I'm alone in not knowing what to think of this character.